Americans fear loss of control over Trump's trade war.
Ventures and one of the sharks on Shark Tank, Kevin O'Leary. Good to see you, sir. As always, are things as out of control as they seem, or is this somewhat of an invention of the media?
Well, no administration has ever tried to deal with 60 trade agreements simultaneously in one stack. That's the stack of friendly trading partners. And then the China stack has a lot to do with issues beyond just tariffs. We've got IP theft. We have no access to their markets. They're listing companies illegally on U.S. exchanges. There's a whole plethora of items, and Trump has given a list of what the administration wants to talk about. So it's all happening at the same time. But the market's starting to understand how this is working. We've got 17 deals, India, these people, all of these countries. I mean, India is a great example, 110% tariffs on completely, on cars shipped from the United States to India. Why is that fair? Why not either slam them with 110 or go to zero tariffs, which India has suggested? So I like the fact they're working all that out. So you think about India, UK, which is outside of the EU itself, Switzerland outside of the EU, Canada, Mexico. And right there, you got 72% of all trade. So that basket's getting worked on. The China thing is what the market's looking at. And that's getting interesting. Every hour, there's new news. You know, Xi wants to save face. Everybody's doing a dance here. But this is going to get worked out because the U.S. is the largest consumer economy on earth. The Chinese want to keep these people in these factories making stuff. They're going to have to cut a deal with the U.S., and I think that's important. But while we're doing it, let's solve the problems with the World Trade Organization, the non-compliance for 20 years, the stuff that's going on NASDAQ and New York Stock.
I hear all that, but you think about what the Chinese are doing beyond just economically. They're running torture camps and committing to genocide, much like the Nazis did in World War II. As you point, not only they're stealing our technology, they're
Damn, that was a big one. He just brought that out of nowhere. They running torture camps?
stealing our military secrets, so they're copying the best of American military technology. If we ever get into a war with them, we'll basically be fighting against a lot of our own.
That's the thing. If you're in the military, then you should know that, one, Russia has a lot of things, right? It's old equipment, but they have a lot of them. Like, they have like 1 million tanks. It'll be old tanks, but they got them. That's why Russia, like, throws stuff. They throw weapons and people at the problem. Like, they're not sophisticated. They just got a lot of stuff. The U.S. invents stuff. We invent stuff. We come out with new missiles, planes, airplanes, things like that. And China copies. They will find our stuff and say, oh, cool, they did that. Let's look at it. They see it, boop, and they will go reconstruct it and make it their own. They don't invent really that much stuff. They'll just see what we got, and they'll make copycats of it.
Stuff. Their thuggery throughout Southeast Asia is certainly damaging the U.S. reputation as being a protector and enforcer of rules and not allowing that kind of belligerence.
That's kind of crosstalk there, thug and Asian spirit. Well, we're a thug and in the Western Hemisphere. Like the same thing China do with other nations. Like, you better do this, you better do that. The U.S. do the same thing. So that's the pot calling the kettle black.
Trump missing a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to really take the Chinese on?
No, I don't think so. That's the whole point.
So you think he's really actually holding strong here?
I think that when they get to the negotiating table, which will happen shortly, I believe, it won't be just let's talk reciprocal tariffs. It'll be all of the issues you just detailed. Those are on his list. This is not about Trump anymore. You know, there's a lot of people around the world, and I'm learning this the hard way, that have what I call Trump derangement syndrome. Mm-hmm. I can't stand talking about Trump when I'm trying to cut a deal in the Middle East or in Zurich or something. I don't care. What I care about is policy. So we have to deal with policy. And this is an administration, because it's a collective, that's now going to work on solving a problem that not a single administration has dealt with in 20 years. So this litany of problems with China has to get dealt with. And I'm very happy to see that it's finally coming to a head. You may not like the volatility. I don't care. We got to get.
You have people here saying, well, it's going up and down the market. I'm scared. And people out here, they don't trust Trump. Man been in office for less than 4 months, and he's fighting China against China. Not literally fighting, but they're fighting against this trade war. China like, you want to do that? Well, we'll do this. We want to do that. We want to do this. And like any negotiation, we see couples go to divorce and they sitting there in the negotiation. They're going back and forth and like, this is like a nasty divorce. Or like they coming together like this is a nasty deal. It's going to happen. Both countries need each other. I think China need the U.S. a little bit more because we could start building our own stuff and keep it here. But yes, it's a pain in the butt. Yes, the stock market's going up and down and oh my God, look at this, blah blah blah. But it's false. The rich of the rich people know like the volatility of the market. When it go down, all they doing is buying more of it and waiting for it to come back up. It's going to fix itself. So like, oh my God, we're gonna go into a depression or something. That's so false. Like that China's not stopping any food from being put on the table. Maybe some things and fruits and stuff. I guess if we import them from China, certain things, maybe your duck sauce and soy sauce, maybe it's going to affect it a little bit. But this got to happen. It's just. That's like saying a divorce and we're going through this and it's affecting the kids and we don't put the kids through this. Okay, well, let's hurry up and come to a deal. But the kids are going to be all right. They're not going to die. We're not going to die, Americans. We're not going to die.
Get resolved. I mean, I live on it in the fringe when I invest in small companies that do hundreds and hundreds of millions, if not billions in R&D, and then get them ripped off in the way you just detailed. I'm not okay with that anymore.
Agreed.
I'm done with that. I'm one of those investors. I've had enough, and I have no way to solve the trade dispute. I can't litigate at the World Trade Organization. I can't litigate in Chinese courts, and they sue us in our own courts. Why is that okay? Why
I agree with you, but I guess, are you seeing enough of a backbone from Donald Trump on this that you have confidence that the pain that we're all going through, look, if there's pain for gain, fine. If there's pain for pain's sake, that's a fool's errand. Are you confident there's enough of a backbone with Donald Trump on this and about China that he's not going to get squishy?
I don't think he's going to get squishy. I don't think the policy is what matters. Trump is bombastic, says outrageous things, sometimes contradicts himself day after day. I don't care about any of that. That's the derangement syndrome. I don't care at all. What I want is the outcome. And it looks like to me, for the first time, not only are the reciprocal negotiations going on with India and all the other countries we listed, but we're going to deal with China once and for all. Okay. And so that's good. I'm confident that we're going to.
It's about the policy. Y'all know that, especially if you grew up in a black household, right? If your parents sitting there, oh, I ain't doing this. So your mother like, I ain't doing that. I ain't getting that, blah, 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 blah. She talk all this game. And then the next thing you wake up in the morning, she's like, here you go. Come get this food. Or, oh, I want this. I ain't buying that. That's $200. I ain't getting that sneakers, blah, 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 blah. All this. Next time soon she get paid, she go, boy, open that up. Here you go. Parents say stuff to kids. But, they still love you, even if they matter. That's the same thing with Trump. It's like they saying this, blah, blah, blah. He crazy, and he speaks this and the go, and he's like a celebrity and social media guy, TV guy. You're fired, right? We know from that. Forget all that, the talking, because all the presidents talk. They do this and this. Obama had the red line, or you better not cross it. But what happened when people cross it? He ain't do nothing. He just drew the line back more. We heard Biden talk. All the presidents talk. There's nothing wrong with that. But he actually have action behind it. And if it don't work, come a year down the road, and it's not working 9 months to a year, then I expect him to say, you know what, we're changing this, blah, 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 and we're going this way. But for him to be like, oh, you know what, we were going to try this, and now it's like, it's a lot for the American people. They don't like it, so let's just deal with China and them taking our companies and making counterfeit. Everybody know China for counterfeits. I don't really got a problem with it. But I see if I owned a company, if I owned a handbag or some type of technology that China shouldn't be able to manufacture the same thing and then sell it in America as a knockoff. I don't like that. But we can't go sell China stuff. We can't go to their homeland and find some products they got and sell a copycat in their country to over 1 billion Chinese people. No. So it's unfair.
This pain is worth it.
I agree with you. If we get a real deal with China that the Chinese will ever live up to, I wonder whether they ever will, but that is a goal worth fighting for. Survey, Americans pessimistic of personal finances, 53% now say their own economic situation is getting worse. I put to you, that it may not be their own economic situation is getting worse, but how they feel about the country. And it's not just the stock market, right? It's the housing market that we went through currently that is becoming extremely disjointed. It's how people feel about costs still staying high. It's how people feel about what's happening with Russia and Ukraine. There is this larger feeling of things being unsettled. And when people do that, they hold back, they don't buy as much, they get more worried. Does it become a self-fulfilling prophecy?
Well, we've been talking about that for 4 years, predicting the recession for 4 years, all through the pandemic, all through the volatility, and most recently in these tariff wars. Everybody keeps saying the same thing. Oh, my goodness, it's the end of the free world as we know it. I don't bet against America. I look at my tear sheets every Tuesday on 52 private companies in 11 sectors, men and women running companies 5 to 500 employees. We don't see that yet. I don't see the recession yet. This tariff stuff is causing a lot of volatility in the markets, 1,000 up, 1,000 down. I get it. I understand why it's happening. But we're not in a recession yet. I don't buy that. And so, jawboning yourself into a recession is one way to try.
Are we doing that, you think?
No, the thing is, the consumer is still strong. Think about the Fed's dilemma when you talk about recession. If they really thought there was a recession coming, they'd be happy to cut rates. However, they have a dual mandate, full employment and 2% inflation. Inflation is more like 3 and something percent right now. And they don't know how long the China dance is going to go for. And employment's really good. Yeah. So, yeah, I understand pessimism. I understand gnashing of teeth and all that stuff. But this is the largest economy on earth, and it's just humming right now. And till the recent volatility because of the tariff wars, and we've detailed why there would be volatility already, it's doing very, very well. And it also consumes almost 39% of everything the world makes. So tell me why
Warren Buffett, I couldn't agree with you more. Warren Buffett's great line, never bet against America, right? Because if America goes out of business, we got a lot bigger problems. So I'm 100% with you. But I feel as though the Trump administration is doing something a little bit akin to what the Biden administration did, not acknowledging that Americans feel scared. We see the polling numbers.
He should go out and say it because the feeling. Poor people that's been living paycheck to paycheck, they like a new president come in, they're like, oh, I feel this and I feel that. It don't even matter if it's actually happening, and that most people don't even have control over their finances and know where the money's going. It's come in, $1,000 come in, and then $1,200 go out. They're like, what did I buy with that? Well, where did this go? Where did that money go? Because they're not tracking their finances. So feelings is important. You can't just say, nah, that's not true. But they feel a certain way. You got to acknowledge that.
I don't believe polls lie. There were a lot of polls that predicted Donald Trump would win the election. Even those polls show there's a fear by Americans, a real fear of Americans in terms of how the economy is doing and at all foreign policy.
Definitely.
How do people get reassured, and is Trump's course correction, at least so far, enough?
He got to do more, but...
So foreign policy goes beyond just economics, and
sure,
obviously.
But do you understand why people are scared?
No, I do. I actually do. But if tomorrow morning you got an announcement out of either China or the White House that Xi is meeting with Trump somewhere on Earth to start trade discussions and start a narrative between the two economies, and the market went up 2,000 points, and then you took a poll, what would they say then? Nobody likes volatility. Nobody likes uncertainty. Nobody likes wars. And we have one in the Middle East. We've got certainly one in the Ukraine that hasn't been resolved yet.
But that's what the news is saying. Terrorists was going to bring up the prices of blah. So I don't blame the average American for thinking that. Like, that makes sense. Like, I would, yeah, that poll completely makes sense.
But
the media is scaring them.
The world's a volatile place. And these polls you're talking about, they haven't been accurate at all. I mean, I remember this narrative just before, 48 hours before the election. Wrong. It was all wrong. I mean, what I care about is the actual individual that makes a purchase decision every day buying one of my products or services because it solves a pain point. And they haven't slowed down yet. So I understand why we should be nervous, but I am not going to let anybody, any politician, any social media guru, any economic forecaster who have forecasted recessions for 4 years in a row and been wrong. They've just been wrong. They actually don't know.
Yeah.
And
She's saying the polls might say almost 80% of people think that the tariffs will raise prices, but they're still on Amazon buying stuff. They still on TikTok shop buying stuff. Y'all buying stuff. So at the same time, it don't match. They still eating out and partying like Americans. So if that was true, they thought a recession was coming in and things were getting more expensive, people would be home more, stay and stuff. We would see he would see a drop in buying his products and things like that. But he's like, yeah, the numbers, the polls say this, but the numbers and the actions of the people don't say this. They still buying cars and things like that, which we shouldn't be, but they still doing it.
So I'm not going to make any decisions based on what they think. I'm going to look at the tear sheets of what my customers think. And they're not as depressed as the press is putting them out to be.
That's
this is America. It's the largest consumer economy on earth. And so far, I don't see a recession. Look, recessions come and go. But,
look,
you know, so
I love
some
your
economists, woe is me, Trump's policies are going to wipe us out. What kind of crap is that? Why do they know something the rest of the market doesn't know? They don't know. They have no idea, and they've been wrong 4 years in a row. So I appreciate them. I think it's important that they have a narrative. I don't listen to it.
That's well said.
Listen, there's definitely some anxiety. I'm like, I hope Trump's policies work. I hope he get China, Chinese president is getting some pressure from his people. Like, we need to solve this because they got millions of people in factories that's being stopped right now that's making, whether it's Nike, iPhones, different product bags, and Balenciaga, all these things come from there. They're damn near made in the same factory. But Americans sit there and be like, oh, this brand is better than this brand. Shaqs are made on the same factory that Jordans are made. But if somebody come into school with Shaqs, they're like, oh, man, come on, those cheap. But Nike over there making Jordans for $12 to $13 each and coming over here selling for $200. So there's a lot of people that's missing a lot of money that's like, oh, I don't like this, I don't like that. It's nonsense. They're going to work itself out. It has to. They can sit there and hold it, but this probably going to come by the end of May. This is probably going to be silly. It's going to be long forgotten. There won't be no recession. The tariffs will either be here or they'll make a deal to have zero tariffs and fix certain things and allow for, America IP, intellectual properties to be protected more in China, and China just don't take our stuff. And maybe we will come out of here and everything will be good. I want the Ukraine and Russia war to stop. I want Israel and Gaza to stop, and I want the U.S. and China to come together so we could have a fucking space race again or something, because we need to do something besides killing each other and worry about this money. But let me know what you think, Cave Dwellers. Do you feel like Trump's tariffs is going to work? If you've really done your research and not just say, oh, yeah, this is bad and this is what they said is and this don't work, because we ain't used to be taxed like this. But way before we were born, the whole point of America was no taxation without representation. We told the king, yo, you can't be taxing us for tea. Y'all can't be taxing us for tea. We can't even help ourselves. And then all of a sudden, boom, we make the IRS and people getting taxed and getting so noticed, and you can't even go represent yourself to the IRS or talk to them. They just, hey, you might get audited and everybody's scared. Oh, IRS. Nah, let's get back to tariff and make these companies pay it. And if they do raise the prices, then stop shopping there. If Nike and Apple raise prices, there's going to be a competitor that say, listen, come over here. We're not going to. That's how companies fold. Remember Toys R Us, Blockbusters, companies that we thought like, oh my God, this Kmart companies, we like, oh my God, they're never going to go out of business. They're too big to go out of business. What? Toys R Us, Kmart? What are you talking about? Blockbusters? Well, another company will come and say, yo, listen, we over here. We got it. That's how Apple took the market. Oh, this phone's this and Google this, and we got it. Come over here. And another brand will rise over Apple eventually. We know this. This is the ebb and flow, survival of the fittest of nature. It flows up and down like the stock market. So don't listen to the top level stuff. You got to dig deep inside. Let me know what y'all think about the economy. Do y'all feel like y'all getting better? Do you feel like it's the same? Do you believe in Trump's plan? Let me know what y'all think, Cave Dwellers.